Hi, guys. Oops. Hey, guys, it's Kathy. I hope you're doing well. Got my microphone. All right. I didn't share my screen. Let's do that and get to it. Mark Furman. Yep.
Exhibit number 64.
All right. Do you recognize that, sir?
Yes, I do.
And what is that?
That's the Ashford Gate at 360 North Rockingham.
Do you see an animal on just to the inside of the gate?
Yes.
Does that appear to be a dog?
Yes, it is.
Now, can you see the front door area from the vantage point of this photograph?
Well, I know where the front door is, but it's very difficult to see from this photograph.
Can you, if you can see the screen, please direct the pointer to the area where the front door is.
Go straight up and then to the left and then a little higher. Right in that area, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And is that where you all walked to?
Yes.
What happened next? I'm sorry, that's right. Thank you, Your Honor. For the record, I'm pointing to an area that appears to be pretty much the middle of the photograph, just under the windows at the front of the house that are depicted, that you can see in this photograph, directly straight down from there.
Thank you.
What happened? You all went to that front door area, and then what happened?
I was standing to the rear of the group, and I'm not sure if Van Adder or Phillips were knocking, but for a couple minutes we stood there and knocked at the front door and received no response.
Okay. So was it all four of you that were standing at the front door there together?
Yes.
Did you all walk over to the front door together?
Yes.
And did anyone answer the door?
No.
How long did, who did the knocking? Do you remember?
It was Phillips or Van Adder. I tend to think it was Phillips, but I can't be absolutely sure.
Okay. And you just stood with them?
I stood behind several feet,
What were you doing?
just standing, waiting for somebody to answer the door.
Did anyone answer the door?
No.
What happened next?
Van Adder and Phillips left the front door area, and we all turned, and Phillips and Van Adder started walking back towards the front gate and then entered a walkway that went alongside of the house on the north side of the residence.
Did you see any animals?
Yes.
And when did you do that?
Right about when we turned, I believe when we turned to walk in that path.
And that path, is it parallel to Ashford or Rockingham? The path?
I'm sorry?
The path that you took, is it parallel to Ashford or Rockingham?
This parallel to Ashford.
Yes. This is an old one.
All right. Make sure it's stable.
Yeah.
exhibit is this?
This is page one.
Can you just turn it around? You're welcome.
All right, if you would, Detective Furman, would you step down? Using the pointer, if you would, please show us the path that you took with Detectives Phillips, Van Adder, and Lang after you knocked on the front door and got no response. When I say you, I mean they, all of you.
This area that's marked as entrance, that is the front door area. We turned around and walked northbound until we had come to this path that is beige in color on this chart, and it somewhat in kind of an S circles around to the rear of the residence. It continues around and starts to go southbound up some stairs into a patio area next to the pool.
And I think you indicated that when you first turned onto that walkway, you saw a dog.
Yes, I believe it was, we might have came out of the pathway area, but it appears to be right where the pathway meets the driveway, somewhere around there.
For the record, the witness was indicating the southern point of the intersection of the pathway and the driveway. And what did the dog look like?
Black, long-haired, I couldn't tell the breed. It looked maybe like some kind of a mix or a shepherd type dog. All black.
So the four of you were walking onto the walkway when the dog approached.
Yes.
Did it bark?
No.
What did it do?
Well, we stopped because we thought we were about to be bit. And then the dog didn't do anything, so we kind of walked by and he just allowed us to.
And you didn't bark? You didn't
No,
bite?
We didn't bark at all.
What did the dog do as you proceeded down the walkway?
I don't know. When he walked by, that was fine with me and we continued.
That was fine with you?
It was fine with me.
All right. So did the four of you all walk together on that walkway?
Pretty much, I believe, yes. I was in the rear.
Okay. And what were you doing as you were walking on the walkway with the other three detectives?
I was doing nothing. I was just following.
And when you walked through the rear yard area, were you searching or looking around? What were you doing?
I was really doing nothing. I was just following these detectives.
Big
They walked
dog
along
energy.
Okay. What did you see?
I saw the lawn and the pathway, and walking into the pool area, I just saw the pool area. Nothing unusual.
What happened next?
We walked onto the patio area. I think Phillips and Van Adder probably slowed somewhat and looked around, and I didn't see anybody verbalize, but I kind of assumed that someone saw something down in this area that they wanted to look at or knock on, or I don't know. They walked past the step area down onto this area by the pool and down towards this room that is denoted on this chart by Kalen's room.
Detective Furman, if you want to step over to the side a little bit, I don't know if the jurors on the end can see where you're pointing to, and show them the area you've just indicated that you went to.
We walked down this area onto this area here. Recall that there was a little pause and then continuing down to this patio area. And this is where Detective Phillips approached this doorway of what is described here as Kalen's room.
And what were you doing? Were you in the front? Were you in the rear? Where were you in relationship to the other three detectives?
Well, I was to the rear, and I believe I was still up either on these stairs or standing up on this area here.
So were you following them?
Yes.
And when you got to the area marked, when the four of you got to the area marked Kaylin's room, what happened next?
I saw Detective Phillips look towards the door, and he went up to it. And I think about at the same time he was about to knock. I could tell it was a glass pane door, and there was wood louvers on the inside, and some of them were open. Detective Phillips he saw something. He turned back and said, "There's a guy on the bed, or there's someone lying on the bed, something like that." And he knocked on the door, and then shortly thereafter, someone came to the door.
Can you describe the person that came to the door?
Pale white, 5'9", 5'10", long brown hair. He looked like he was just woken up. He might have had sweatpants on or some type of a pajama.
Sorry, Detective, could you
Yeah.
keep your voice up, please?
Why don't
Sorry.
you go ahead and resume your seat, and we'll come back to that. Resume your seat, then we're going to need the board again, so. All right, the person that answered the door, do you now know who that is, sir?
Yes,
Who's that?
Cato Kalin.
And after he answered the door, did someone speak to him?
Yes, Detective Phillips.
And did you hear what Detective Phillips said to him?
I was standing behind and above, and I heard him ask Mr. Kalin if he knew if Mr. Simpson was in the house. And then I'm not sure if it was Phillips or one of the other detectives making a comment that there might be some sort of an emergency we need to know, or something to that effect.
And what happened next?
I heard Mr. Kalin direct all of us to Mr. Simpson's daughter's room, which he pointed east down that walkway along the bungalows, and said something like Mr. Simpson's daughter Arnell's room is down this way, and I think he pointed or directed them down that way.
Now, do you see the area that he pointed to on this exhibit marked as People 66?
Yes, I do.
Can you please step down, sir, and point it out to the jury?
This right directly in front of what's described as Kalen's room, there's a walkway. This walkway, he pointed them down towards this area, which was Arnell's room.
And when he directed all of you to Arnell's room, he pointed that out. What happened next?
Detective Phillips and Van Adder and Lang walked in that direction.
And what did you do?
Well, I came down these steps and I stayed with Mr. Kalin.
Okay, and what happened at that point?
I don't know what happened when they walked down to talk to Arnell Simpson. I stayed with Mr. Kalin, and he was standing somewhat in the doorway, and I asked if I could come in, and he said yes.
Okay. Why don't you take your seat? When you made your first contact with Mr. Kalin, were you outside or inside his room?
I believe I was outside, standing on the walkway outside the doors.
And where was he?
He was just inside the open door.
How did he look to you?
Like he had just woken up. mussed hair. I noticed he had bloodshot eyes. They were kind of glassy. He had a T-shirt, some type of loose-fitting pants on, could have been sweatpants. A little disoriented.
What was your opinion of his condition when you first made contact with him?
Well, I really didn't know if I really had formed an opinion. I did ask him if he'd been drinking, and I'm pretty sure he responded that he doesn't even drink.
And based on your observations of him, sir, what did you do?
I asked him if I could just do a short test on him just to make sure that he wasn't under the influence.
And what kind of test is it that you gave him?
It's called a nystagmus test.
And what is that?
It's a test that you would use to determine if somebody was under the influence or possibly under the influence of a depressant, one being alcohol.
Is that something that you've given to someone before?
Yes.
In what situation?
Situations maybe on a traffic stop, thinking that there's a possibility that I might be under the influence of alcohol, or a narcotics location to eliminate a depressant or alcohol from your observations.
And how is that test given?
Well, you use usually a pencil or a pen. You hold it vertical foot to 15, 16 inches in front of the person's face. You tell them to concentrate usually on the forehead right between your eyes, and to not move their head, but follow the pen as you move it from right to left with your eyes.
Can you show us? Do you have a pen?
Yes.
Do you have one?
No.
Here, back me. Okay, show us.
I put the pen approximately this far away from the front of the person's face that is going to submit to the test. And then I would instruct them, I being the person on the other side of this pen, to do not move your head. And I'll demonstrate this without being the person that's being given the test. I would concentrate in that person's head. And as I move the pen, I would want to move my eye, not my head. If there is something indicative of a depressant, the eye would bounce.
Okay.
All right, indicating the pen distance about 15 inches from the face.
Thank you, Your Honor. And you administered that test to Mr. Kalin, did you?
Yes,
And what did you observe?
there was no bounce to his eyes.
What did you do next?
I engaged Mr.
It's because his hair held all of his bounce.
Kalin in conversation while I believe one of the first things I asked him was, do you mind if I look around? He replied, no.
Now, where were the other three detectives at this point?
They were directed to Arnell's room, and I can only assume they were east of my location at that part of the bungalows.
Did you, at any point, enter Mr. Kalin's room?
Yes,
Did you ask his permission to do so?
yes,
And did he let you?
yes, he did.
What happened next?
That is when I asked him if I could look around. And I asked if he would mind if I looked around. He said no. And I looked into the bathroom, into the shower area. I looked into some tall closets on the east wall. And then I came back and engaged him in conversation once again.
What were you looking for?
Oh, I was looking at places that someone could secrete themselves, hide, or someone could put a human-sized object.
You're looking for a person, possibly?
Yes.
A victim, a what?
Well, I didn't know, but I didn't particularly care to stand. I didn't know who Mr. Kalin was, and just for the simple fact of officer safety, I wanted to get permission to at least look at the places that someone could at least hide.
Mm-hmm. What happened next?
I asked Mr. Kalin if the white Bronco in front, who it belongs to, and he said it was OJ's. And I asked him if he drove it last night, but I believe before he answered that. I think I asked him another question.
And what was that?
If anything unusual happened last night.
Now, did you tell him about the crime scene you just come from at 875 South Bundy?
No, I told him nothing about Bundy or anything else about any observations.
Why is that?
I didn't know who Mr. Kalin was.
And what difference did that make?
Well, you would never discuss anything about a case except for with the detectives until you know exactly who is involved in the case or what information they might be able to elicit.
Okay. Kind of like standard behavior?
Yes.
Routine thing. So when you asked him, did anything unusual happen the night before, what was his response?
He said about 10:45 p.m. the previous night. I believe he said he was talking on the phone. He said he heard a crash or a thump on his wall. He thought there was going to be an earthquake. His picture shook.
And did he point out to you the picture or the area on the wall where he heard that crash?
Yes.
Where did he point to?
He pointed to a picture towards the right side of his bed, which would be the west side of his bed. His bed was, the head was on the south wall, and the foot was at the north end of the room. The
The photograph's going to be shown now. I'd ask you to mark people's next in order 109, 110. All right, do you recognize what's shown in this photograph, sir?
I believe this is Cato's room, but there's been items removed from the room.
So it looks a little different than the way you saw it on June the 13th of 1994.
Yes.
Now, have I sat down and shown you any photographs?
No.
So is this the first time you've seen this photograph, sir?
Yes, it is.
And how is it different? How is the condition of this room different than what you observed on June the 13th?
This chair that's in the left upper corner, I don't recall that chair being there, that French provincial looking chair. And I don't know what that object is directly to the left of that chair, but I recall a dresser, a tall man's bureau to be there. The air conditioner to the left of the bed was in that location. I can't tell if the picture that was on the wall is out of the focus of this or out of the picture, or if it had been removed.
Okay. The area on the wall that he pointed to as where he felt the that crashing sound came from. Can you see that in the photograph here?
Well, the way he described it was between the air conditioner and the picture that was to the right of the air conditioner, which was somewhere above the bed to the right.
Okay. If you would, please, sir, direct, if you can see the screen.
Bed between the air conditioner and the picture. He said his picture shook. The picture shook.
And where was the picture, sir?
It was to the right, I think, close to the end of the bed, I'm not exactly positive on the exact location of the picture.
Can you tell us if it was above this nightstand area?
It could have been.
But it was to the right of, it was on the wall to the right of the bed as you faced the bed from the
Yes,
from this
it was
door
right.
area.
It was to the right of the air conditioner, somewhere close to the right side of the bed, quite possibly above that nightstand. Yes.
Okay, the area that I'm gesturing with the light.
Yes.
Can you tell us where the air conditioner is on this photograph, sir? Can you see it?
Well, there's that bright area to the left upper of the lampshade. That to the left, that appears to be the open door to the bathroom on my screen. And then directly to the right of that, right there, that would be where the air conditioner is.
Okay. This is, so where the light is right now, that's the air conditioner?
Yes.
All right. And what is this area in here that I'm gesturing to with the light?
That's the open bathroom door.
Did you happen to observe whether there was a window in the bathroom?
I don't recall if there was a window.
Now, did Mr. Kalin tell you what time he heard that crashing sound over his bed, on the wall over his bed?
He said about 10:45 p.m.
Marcia got promoted.
And did he
The higher ups must think she's doing a really, really good job so far in this case. Because look, they upgraded her from a Dixie cup to a big one, not even just a little styrofoam cup. That's a double promotion. I'm proud of you, Marcia. We're all proud of you.
point out the picture that he said moved when he heard that crashing sound or that thumping sound?
He pointed over towards the wall, made a gesture as he was talking.
At any point, sir, did you search or look through anything in Mr. Kalin's room?
Yes, directly to the left side of the bed, which was closest to the bathroom, there was a pile of clothes and a pair of shoes.
And what did you do with those?
I asked if I could look at him. He says, sure.
And what were you looking for?
I didn't know. I was just looking at him. There was nothing on the clothes. Didn't appeared to be anything I was concerned with. I looked at the bottom of the soles of the shoes. There didn't appear to be anything on it. I put them back in their original position.
What were you looking, what did you expect to find, or what did you think you might find on the bottoms of the shoes?
I didn't know, but I was looking to see if there was possibly any blood on the bottom of the shoes or dirt or the sole design.
Mm-hmm. Did you ask him whether, Mr. Kalin, whether he had been wearing those shoes and that clothing the night before?
Yes, I did.
And what was his
He
response?
said, yes, those are the clothes I wore last night.
And what did you find on the soles of those shoes?
Nothing.
And on the clothes?
Nothing.
Okay, after looking through the clothes and the shoes, sir, did you have some further conversation with Mr. Kalin?
Yes, well, Mr. Kalin offered, he described that when he heard that noise, initially he thought it was an earthquake, but nothing else happened. So he went out to investigate.
Did he tell you where he went to investigate?
Yes.
What did he tell you about that?
He went around the north side past the pool, north side of the residence, and walked the same pathway that we had used to approach his room.
Mm-hmm. And then what?
He said he saw a limo in the driveway, and then he proceeded towards the area where he was going to investigate, but he didn't describe anything any farther.
Now, the area on the wall where he indicated he heard the thumps, could you tell where the exterior of that point would be on the property?
No.
And did he tell you how to get to that point on the exterior part of the property?
No, he didn't.
So after he told you that he'd gone out to investigate the thumps and got into the driveway and seen the limo driver, did he tell you where he went after that point?
I don't recall that he did, no.
What happened next?
I asked Mr. Kalin if he would come with me, and we exited his room. And I looked towards the main house, and I saw there was an open door, the rear off the patio.
Can you show us, sir, the path that you took on the diagram marked People 66 in the company of Mr. Kalin?
Yes. We exited Mr. Kalin's room. We walked up these stairs, went towards the main house, probably these stairs right here. There's a door right here that was partially open. I believe it had a screen on it also. Walked into that door. It led into a bar area just to the left of a billiard table that you step down into.
And where were the other detectives?
I didn't know. I had not seen this door open prior, so I assumed that they were inside the residence.
And the door, that rear door, was it standing open when you went in with Mr. Kalin?
Yes,
Did you ask for his assistance in figuring out how to get into the house, or was that obvious to you?
I might have, but I noticed the door. Mr. Kalin could have led me there. I'm not positive which way that went.
So you walked in through the rear door,
Yes,
and that was with Mr. Kalin.
yes.
And what did happen next after you entered the house?
When I first walked in, I noticed this area stepped down where there's a large billiard table, and then directly in front of where we came in, there's a bar area where there's 4 or 5 bar stools. And I asked Mr. Kalin to sit in one of those stools and relax, and somebody talked to him in a minute.
Go ahead, have a seat. Now, at that point, had you asked Mr. Kalin where Mr. Simpson was or where he could be found?
I didn't ask him any questions about that any further.
Did he volunteer any information as to where the defendant was?
No,
Did you have any idea at that point whether the defendant was home or out of town or what his whereabouts were?
no,
Did you have any idea what time the defendant had come or gone from his residence that night?
no.
And did you ever obtain an answer to the initial question you asked Mr. Kalin about whether the Bronco, the white Bronco, belonged to Mr. Simpson?
I believe he said that's the vehicle he drives.
And was that in response to your question initially posed?
Yes,
Or was that later conversation?
that was initially.
After you took Cato to the bar area, what happened next?
I left him at that location, and I tried to find where the other 3 detectives had walked to.
Did you find them?
I walked towards the front door. There's a hallway type area. And as I walked past there was an open doorway, and I saw all 3 detectives in the kitchen area.
Okay. So did you walk through the kitchen area or through the living room area?
I think it's the living room area that there's a hallway that accesses the kitchen through a small doorway that you'd have to turn left. But the hallway goes somewhat directly towards the front door.
Mhm.
Next photograph, Your Honor, be People's 110, 111.
111.
And I apologize for not showing you these photographs ahead of time so you could orient yourself, but do you recognize what's shown in People's 111?
Yes, I do.
Okay, can you tell us what's shown in this photograph?
Yes, just off center in the upper left corner area, you'll see an open door. That's the rear door I was speaking of, coming from the patio area. There's several framed photographs you can see to the right of that doorway. That would be leading down into the billiard area. There's a large picture directly to the left of that. I believe that was a large Neiman that was at the south wall of the billiard room. The bar area is where all the chairs are to the right corner of this. And if you walk directly past that bar area, going to the right of the picture, you'd be going down the hallway that would let you see the doorway that leads into the kitchen.
Okay. If you would direct the light, I'm going to be shining on the screen now. Can you see the light?
Yes.
All right. Tell me where to go. Where's the bar area here?
Straight up, right there. There's the bar stools. There are bar stools that sit at a normal level of a chair, not a elevated bar stool.
And is that the bar area that you brought Mr. Kalin into?
Yes.
Okay. And then over here, this is the door you were speaking of that you two entered through?
Yes.
And after you put him seated him at the bar here, where did you go?
Directly use your pointer and go directly to the right. Past the other side of that wall that you're now touching would be the hallway that leads to the north side of the kitchen.
And to the front door area?
Yes.
Are you going to be using 66 any longer?
I was going to, but I don't
No,
have to.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
It's blocking your view, is it?
No, it's okay, go ahead. I was just wondering if you weren't going to use it anymore, let's take it down, but if you plan to use it again, be my guest.
I don't know how far I'm going to get. That's why, to save time, I was leaving it there, but I will use
Yeah,
it again.
no.
In order, Your Honor, People's 112.
People's 112.
Showing you People's 112, sir. Do you recognize what location that is?
Yes, that's the interior of the front door that faces west.
Did you exit through that door, sir, when you indicated to us earlier that you went down the hallway towards the front door?
Yes.
That's the one?
Yes.
And at that point, you had seen that the other three detectives were in the kitchen.
Yes.
Could you see what they were doing in there?
I believe one detective was on the phone. That detective not being Van Adder. I believe Phillips was on the phone, but I can't be positive about that.
Did you have any conversation with Detective Phillips or Detective Lang before leaving the front door?
No.
What was you spoke to you were with Detective Phillips, Lang, and Van Adder at the point that you first went to Mr. Kalin's room. I believe you testified earlier. Is that correct?
Yes.
And was that the last time that you spoke to them or you were with them before you went out the front door? Did you have any further conversation with them before leaving Cato in the bar and going out the front door?
Yes, I made a comment to Detective Van Adder.
And what was that comment, sir?
I said, Phil, would you talk to this guy at the bar?
And other than that, did you have any conversation with Detective Van Adder, Detective Lang, or Detective Phillips?
No, not at that time.
So after that remark to Detective Van Adder, you went out the front door?
Yes.
And for what purpose did you do that?
I was trying to orient myself from where this, the south wall of Cato's bedroom could be located on the property.
Right, you indicated earlier, sir, that when you looked inside the rear cargo area of the Bronco, you described for us a shovel and a piece of plastic. Do you recall that, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
People's Exhibit number 109.
You recall that photograph you've earlier described for us,
Yes, I do.
and that shovel? You know, I have here, one of my lot of people's necks in order. The people's form.
113.
It's wrapped in a paper bag. I'd like to unseal it if I could, Your Honor, and have the witness identify it. You want to do it or not?
Go ahead.
I'm just going to cut through. It appears to be currently sealed with tape with an analyzed evidence marker on it, SID marker on it. I believe it's been examined. And for the record, I'm cutting through the seal and the tape. I think rather than take it completely out, I'm just going to tear this so that it can be seen. Rotted up in there or something. All right. Can you tell us, sir, if you recognize what I'm showing you here, People's 113?
Yes,
And what is it?
that looks like the shovel that I saw in the rear cargo area of the Bronco.
Hold it up so the jury can see it, sir. Get a look at it. Thank you. And now you also described a piece of plastic that you saw in the pocket on the passenger side of the cargo area.
Yes, ma'am.
In the photograph that's now on the screen, People's 109, you see a white object underneath the handle of the shovel, sir?
Yes, I do.
And what was that?
I do not know.
Do you recall seeing it there, though?
I was looking from that side of the vehicle, so I might not have even seen that white object. It might have been out of my view.
I have here a box that,
Mark the box and contents 114.
yes, Your Honor. I'm showing you the box that's now been marked People's 114. Can I allow you to cut it, break the seal? For the record, Your Honor, the box is currently taped, and there's a LAPD sealed evidence tag that is unbroken over the top of it. If you could please go ahead, cut it, and describe your actions as you do so, sir.
I'm cutting the tape on both ends of the box. I'm now cutting the center of the tape that's going over the analyzed evidence seal. I'm opening the box, and there is a brown paper bag with an LA evidence seal,
And is there a number on it?
number 62, and another one, number photo 64, I'm sorry, and photo 62.
Those are photo ID numbers, sir?
Yes, and there's an item, I believe, 91 and an item 93.
Now, you described to us some plastic that you saw, sir.
Yes,
Can you, this item that has the number, item number 93 on it, photo number 64 on it, is it currently sealed?
yes, it is. LAPD sealed evidence.
Could you please cut the seal?
Yes, cutting the seal on the package. I'm opening the package and removing a folded piece of heavy gauge plastic.
Could you please unfold the plastic, sir?
Yes. Yes, sir. It appears to be a bag that's approximately 3 foot by 4 or 5 feet.
And is that the plastic that you recall seeing in the rear cargo area?
Yes, it is.
And was it folded up at the time you saw it, sir?
Yes, it was.
All right, for the record, Detective Furman is now refolded the plastic that's in the box. There's another bag beside this box, and I'm going to bring it over to you. Is it currently sealed?
Yes, it is.
Could you please cut the seal? Describe your actions as you do so.
I'm cutting the seal on item number 91, unfolding the paper bag, and removing a white towel.
Does that look similar to the object depicted in People's photograph number 109?
Yes.
Would you please replace the hold the towel up, show the jury? Thank you. Put it back in the bag. Lastly, Your Honor, I have an item here. I'd like marked People's 115.
All right, People's 115.
It's currently wrapped up in brown paper, and it appears to be sealed. And it bears the DR number 9408-17431. Sir, is that the, if you know, is that the same number that you can see on the bag that you just replaced the towel back into?
Yes, it's the same DR number.
And is that the same DR number that you see on the bag that you removed the plastic from?
Yes, it is.
And are you familiar with what that means? What's the DR number?
Yes,
What is that?
that's the number that's assigned to the victim of any crime or a report number.
And so are all items then booked to that same number in that case?
Yes,
And on the package you now have that is marked People's 115, you see that same number?
yes, I do.
Could you please open that package, sir? Try what you're doing. the record, please?
I'm cutting the brown tape on the opposite side of the evidence tag, unrolling the brown paper. There is another white paper, also it has LAPD analyzed evidence seals on it with the DR 9408-17431. Cutting through those seals.
And can you tell us, sir, if you recognize what you see here?
Yes,
What is it?
that's the piece of wood that I found to the left of the right front tire of the Bronco that was lying on the parkway.
People's Exhibit number 107.
Can you look at your monitor, sir?
Yes,
Do you see the item that you've just unwrapped that we've marked as People's 115 in this photograph?
I do.
And where is it?
It is directly to the left of the right front tire of the Bronco.
And can you please hold it up for the jury and tell us if there's a difference in its appearance today than in the way you found it when you saw it on June the 13th?
Yes, there's a piece of plastic over an exposed nail, and the white paint seems to be soiled with fingerprint powder. And the wood probably is just slightly less fresh appearing than it was the day I observed it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to conclude for the morning session. Please remember my admonition to you. Don't discuss the case amongst yourselves. Don't form any opinions about the case. Don't conduct any deliberations till the matter has been submitted to you for your decision. Also, do not allow anybody to communicate with you regarding the case. We will see you Monday morning, 9 a.m. All right? I'd like the attorneys to remain until after we have excused the jury.
If you found a freaking narrative in all this mess so far, my hat's off to you. Share it with the rest of the class.
to talk to you about some discovery and other matters.
They haven't really
All right,
gotten to
Detective
murders.
Furman, you may step
at
down.
all.
You're ordered to return Monday morning, 9 a.m. All right, thank you, sir.
Let's see if we can hear. Yeah, we can. We're going to hear them argue, and then we'll stop for the day. You know, we don't see enough of this seal in this courtroom. I wish we would have more seal watch. Sorry, I thought it was only there for a second. I was wrong. Yeah, that makes sense. He's muted. Nothing. I'm just going to wait till it flips over.